Now, Home Affairs has registered its first Nikah certificate. Now, a Nikah is a traditional wedding ceremony under Sharia or Islamic law. Muslim marriages have previously not been recognized in South Africa. They now are after the passing of the Minimalist Muslim Marriages Bill. Now, the first couple to receive certification hail from Sunflay in Cape Town. The site is important as this is where the founder of Islam in South Africa set up a settlement over 300 years ago. But let's discuss this now with Mogammat Samodien from Jama-ah. A very good morning to you, Mr. Samodien. Thank you for your time this morning. A big win, a very, very big win, because this is something that Jama-ah has actually been championing in Parliament. Tell us about that.
Hi, good morning, and thank you for having me. Yes, indeed, it is very nostalgic for me. In fact, when I was sitting at the Home Affairs in Wynberg, as discussing the processing of this particular registration of the Islamic marriages with the manager of the Western Cape, Yusuf Simon, he basically, that was such a moment for me that I became so emotional because, can you imagine after 375 years, we can actually get a death certificate so that we were married. Previously, it was never married. And we're looking at, for example, the efforts that was made by the party, by our Honorable President Hanif Hendricks. Then he, in his own words, was saying on that particular morning, this is a big one, and I never thought it would happen in my lifetime. But talking about the couple, yes, you are so right when you are saying that is, I wouldn't say it was coincidental. I think it is by divine intervention that must come from the place where Tuan Yusuf were managed into that particular space and where the Islam in South Africa originated from, that it should be a couple from that particular area. And the couple in itself was so delighted and so happy that they could be the first one. So yeah, indeed, it's a very exciting moment. It is a barrier-breaking event for us. It is certainly something that we would like to say that democracy in our country is working.
This has been a very long journey. Jama-ah took up the fight when you got your parliamentary seat, but the Women's Legal Centre has also been fighting this in the courts for a very long time. Tell us about how the two processes actually worked together, a constitutional process as well as the parliamentary process.
Look, the person that was very instrumental in, making these negotiations and almost like lobbying for support for this was our Honorable President Hanif Hendricks. And we identified the plight of women in particular when they have to go after maybe their spouses have passed on. They have to go to court and ask, where do we stand? And there were never rights being given to them in terms of maintenance. And so, although we have now a Circular 2 of 2023, we gives us now the permission to apply for marriage certificates to be registered, and then on our certificate will be stated that even in our death certificate will say that issue was married. In those days, and even up till the point that we are now, many of them are not entitled to the maintenance grants, or even having, the wind-up of the estate becomes such unbearable. And on top of it, they normally sit without a cent, and they even struggle to get to court. And that's why we also have tabled the Muslim Marriage Bill, and we have also tabled a bill that we're looking at maintenance and so forth. So the fight is ongoing, working very well with the women's grouping and lobbying. And yeah, they are also as delighted as we are. But of course, Jama-ah is a party for all people. And so we are also not only looking at Muslims and their rights, but also looking at women's rights in general in terms of when it comes to those very sticky points of inheritance and so forth.
So what should one do if you were previously married and you've got the Nikah certificate? Do you go to Home Affairs and you then get given a marriage certificate? What is the process and procedure for those who were married before the
Thank you
passing
very
of
much
birth?
for asking that particular question. You know what? And then I think that is where, I have been sitting with the officials of the Department of Home Affairs in Wynberg, and we have worked out a requirement list, a checklist to ensure that people, when they do come to register the Nikah marriage certificate, that they can actually do it in such a way that it can be compliant to the customary registration as it stands now, and then it will be legal for them to issue those certificates. And what we have noticed that even people that was maybe married for 50 years, whose spouses have passed on, and also then apply. You need to follow the process. You need to follow the requirements in terms of that. So if you want to come to the Home Affairs, currently it is operational at Wynberg, as well as in Mitchells Plain. Mitchells Plain was the Brain Breaker. They basically were the first Home Affairs department that gave the couple the certificate, and there's a second one that is happening, and on Monday quite a number will happen. Let me take you to the process. Firstly, the married couple must each one bring a affidavit stating where and when they were married, and if so, they can also state in that affidavit what was the agreement. Labola in the customary marriage, here we call it a dowry, and so that statement that's on the certificate can be written, but also if it's not on the marriage certificate, they need to put it down on the affidavit. The affidavit must come from SAPS. That's firstly. Secondly, they must have South African ID with the 13 digits to be legalized to register for the marriage certificate. Thirdly, they need to bring witnesses, and both those witnesses, each witness, one from the one family and the other witness from the other family, must then also bring their affidavits and stating that they were witness to the marriage on such and such a day and such a place. When those documents are in place, then the last thing that they need to have is a Nikah certificate that was issued by the person, the imam or the authority that where the marriage took place. Now, there are these questions about what happens if this and that and the other in terms of my marriage certificate is maybe destroyed and I don't have it. They need to go back to the imam that married them. If he's not available, we were then told by the Home Affairs that they can go to the Muslim Legal Council, have it sorted out as long as they verify that this is a certificate. And when they have all these documents in place, they will go to the Home Department, where they meet up with the Jama-ah team at the help desk. At the help desk, we will check all these documentation, whether it is correct. And when it is correct, then we will forward it to the front desk, where they will meet up with the marriage certificate registration officer. In this case, at the moment, we are dealing with the acting manager and the manager at Wynberg. They will then fill in the particular details onto the book, and that's it. A 20 rand must be paid for the issue of the certificate, and they walk away as a happy couple. Last but not least, even when they are there, they will just be checked whether they still want to be married.
Well, it's a bit too late then, I think. The Nikah certificate is already issued.
Definitely. But you know what? In the customary marriage practice, they do ask, you must say the I do. So yeah, I heard the officer was saying, and yeah, I think if I'm looking at Mrs. McCall, in Mitchells Plain, amazingly, see, we work so well together. They were also so excited because it is, for them it's a milestone. It is something which they can feel that they are part of it. They are part of doing the injustice that was done to Muslim people in terms of marriages, they can actually assist that. And it's amazingly how she basically, smile and say, I have to ask you that you still want to be married because they need to keep the intent of marriage.
They do need to verify. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mogammat